Hello and welcome to The Consumer. Today we will be talking about The Terminal List from Amazon starring Chris Pratt. Let's go ahead and get started on the masculine feminine scale. I'm going to give this a 10 on the masculine, 0 on the feminine. This is a show for men. It is a serious show. There's no lighthearted elements in it. It's a action revenge thriller where Chris Pratt kills a bunch of people and is very serious about it. It is 100% serialized. There are no procedural elements. I would say you could probably watch it in the foreground and background. Foreground about 60% of the time, background about 40% of the time. There is quite a lot of talking in this show, and there's a lot of annoying like flashback things that Chris Pratt does. Those are much better seen while doing something else, like playing a video game or, taking a shit. It is 100% normal. Absolutely shocking, given Amazon. I think Amazon is trying to do both at the same time, trying to get its woke shows and its non-woke shows, which is a fairly good strategy. Our society seems to be splitting into two different factions, red and blue. Might as well make movies for each. This is definitely a red movie. Might even change woke and normal from red to blue. All right, this is relatively pretentious. I would put it at 8 pretentious, 2 campy. The only reason it gets a 2 campy is it's got a little bit of a campy, like military hoorah stuff in it, which some people can view as kind of campy, but for the most part, it's trying to be pretty pretentious. Total score of this show, it swings. First few episodes, I would put at a 40. I would say that about 60% of the TV shows are better than it. But then it starts to pick up once you understand that, he's got a brain tumor instead of just doing some stupid shit, and it kind of explains it. Then he gets his revenge going. It probably picks up to an 85, but then it starts to drop off towards the end, and the ending was like an M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong ending, and I did not like it very much. So I'm going to give it a 70. Yeah. In this show, one of the main fields you're going to have is conspiracy. He's trying to figure out what happened, and there's a whole bunch of conspiratorial elements. There's a pharmaceutical company involved. There's the military involved, obviously, because he's a Navy SEAL. And then they have an investigation where he tries to figure out what the fuck happens. He gets a lot of justice, and I'm putting bored on there. First few episodes was quite boring. I almost didn't finish it, but then, someone died, and I was like, okay, I'll finish it. Some similar things. The most recent Reacher. We got Punisher. It's like John Wick. It's like Enemy of the State. It's very similar to Reacher. Reacher's like a military guy and investigates the death of his brother. This is a military guy investigating the death of his squad. He goes out and gets revenge like Punisher and John Wick. And there's a large conglomerate against him that's trying to kill him, which brings in the Enemy of the State. Lows of the show, I already touched a little bit on it, but slow first few episodes. Another low of the show is not everything that happens makes perfect sense, so it doesn't make perfect sense. Especially the ending. Not gonna spoil it, but the ending I didn't like. Two people face off at the end, and I feel it made way more sense for it to switch it around, and the person who lost should have won. It makes no sense how it happened. In the show, Chris Pratt's character has a tumor, and he keeps getting these flashbacks, and I found them to be annoying and overdone. It's trying to like draw out the love for his wife and his kid who died in the show, and he keeps doing these flashbacks, and it's supposed to be like his driving, motivating force. It's almost like he wants the flashbacks, but it causes him pain because it's coming from a tumor. I guess they're not really flashbacks, they're more like hallucinations of the past. So it's pretty annoying. And then also the ending. I wasn't a fan of the ending. Another person I know watched it, also didn't like the ending. He disliked it more than me, but he didn't like the ending. It's got great action scenes. Let's go some highs. Great action scenes. If you pay attention to a lot of the gun work's relatively accurate. Some of the gun sounds aren't quite as accurate, but a lot of the gun action's pretty accurate. A lot of these shows, they don't do a very good job of that, and it always annoys me. One of the biggest sins that I've ever seen is in The Walking Dead. Season 1 was very good with its gunplay. Rick Grimes shoots his big-ass hand cannon in the tank, and it hurts his ears, which would be realistic. Season 2 comes around, and little fucking Coral shoots his big-ass deer rifle, looks like a 308, and no kick. Anyone who shot a 308 as a tiny little 8-year-old knows you're going to get knocked on your fucking ass from shooting a 308. He's just shooting it like it's a fucking plinking BB gun. Annoying. So it's got good gun scenes. Big pet peeve of mine when they can't do that right, because it's super easy. Just ask Alec Baldwin. Good gun combat. I guess I could put, because fight scenes are good, gun scenes are good. It's got some justice. I kind of dislike large corporate entities and the way they can get away with just about anything in court and in society, and he just circumvents all that and just does it directly, and the show is manly. Not enough manly shows out there, a lot of femininity taken into our society. Get the man back. All right, my overall thoughts. Pretty boring first few episodes. And it, I'd say, let's see, boring first few episodes. Picks up in the middle. Becomes John Wicky. Then ends in a flop. Ends in an M. Night Shyamalama ding dong flop. Ending's pretty dumb. It's like, ha ha ha, it was this the whole time, and felt disappointed. So that's the Terminal List. Let's see. Do I recommend consuming the Terminal List? I don't think so. I would say no, unless you've already seen Reacher. You like Reacher's better. If you watched Reacher, you want more Reacher, and you're okay with it not being as good as Reacher, then maybe the Terminal List is for you. If you don't mind the first few slow episodes to get some good action combat, if you don't think about the show too much, it's probably pretty good for you. Just want some good combat scenes. There's one scene where he cuts a guy open with the hatchet, pulls out his intestines, and then slams it on a board and then makes him walk. And he walks his own intestines out. That's one of his revenge, if you're into like that gore porn. That doesn't show too much of it. But I'd probably say don't consume.